everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Back Row Fantasy Show. It's me, Bark, and to my left is just arms.
Good morning.
It's only arms. No knit.
You seem so disappointed.
No, I just feel the need to point it out that there is no knit. There is no niddle here.
You're almost as disappointed as I am whenever I've got a 30-point lead going into halftime of last night's game, and apparently the Vikings decided to start playing football, and you have two of their receivers.
Well, when you have Diggs and Thielen,
I know it's a matter of time.
Nary a worry when you have Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen, and Diggs got it done. Thielen got it done too, but I feel like the second half is Diggs takeover. Like it's time for the Diggs.
It's just killing my playoff hopes, Barker.
I can't help that. I'm sorry.
I just need Kelsey and Reggie Ragland outperform Pat Mahomes. That'll be fun to watch. God.
But look, hopefully Patty puts a little ketchup on it tonight.
That is disgusting. Like, listen.
Not that bad.
First off, no, you're describing how to eat a hamburger. Putting ketchup on any meat from a cow. No, not.
I can eat ketchup and steak.
Yeah, okay. Why?
Why not?
Because you're ruining steak.
What do you put on it?
Nothing or A1?
I hate A1.
Then nothing.
Despise.
Then nothing is your answer. Now, listen, I'm not against the ketchup on mac and cheese, though. See?
Yeah.
Say, hey, poor folk have poor ways.
See? No.
See, hey,
No.
Whenever you grow up and you've got like the most generic macaroni and cheese known to man, you got to do a little something to spice it up. There's not always a lot of good cheese in there. I'm just saying.
Now, I'll agree with you to an extent. My wife makes hamburger helper. She puts ketchup in it.
Okay.
Like the cheesy Velveeta and hamburger, and she puts some ketchup in it. Gives it this little bit of a tang.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay. I just can't.
All right.
I can't support ketchup on steak. It's got to be a really, really bad steak, and you have no A1 to consider ketchup. God, it's got to be bad.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, how about that?
So, Brighton.
How about fantasy football?
I thought of something. Recaps are fun, but you know what would be fun to focus on today?
What's that?
The playoff stretch run and who you can actually pick up that might be able to help you and who you shouldn't.
Okay.
And that it drives me straight into the first topic of the day for me. Gus. Wait. He's so irrelevant, I have to look his name up. But the Baltimore Ravens running back from last night that is definitely going to be the hot Gus Edwards. Gus, the Gummy Gator Edwards.
Oh, the guy with the 115 yards?
Yeah.
In a touchdown?
Yeah. He is so obscure that I couldn't remember his name. But listen.
He's a rookie.
He is a rookie. He's a big one. He's a pounder. He's one of those 235-pound guys that grind out 4, 5, 6 yards. But hey, it looks like possibly the Ravens have seen all that they need to see out of the Alex Collins experiment. And Gus Edwards looked really good yesterday. And is he someone that you can grab and help your playoff cause?
I hope so, because I'm putting in a waiver request.
Well, that's the thing. I think the whole world is putting in a waiver request for Mr. Gus today, hoping to land him. But is it a flash in the pan, though? Is Alex Collins and Ty Montgomery still has yet to even get a carry? Which they didn't give much for him, but
they've got something
curious.
they've got something in him. It's more than, what they've got in him, I guess, is more than nothing. Does that make sense? Versus Gus Edwards has literally just an unguaranteed contract.
Right.
He's an undrafted free agent. Man.
But they gave him the ball.
Yeah. Alex Collins wasn't exactly highly touted.
No.
Buck Allen was never highly touted. So, I mean, most likely he's a flash in the pan. Most likely we just saw the best of what he's going to do because it was against, was it the Bengals?
It's against the Bengals. Alex Collins scored again, by the way. Like, you just can't keep that kid out of the end zone.
So
just like Curtis Samuel. Electric.
I freaking love Curtis Samuel.
Just electric.
I just want him to be better than he is. But, you know, the thing about it, most likely what we see with Gus Edwards is he is the beneficiary of them just being that much better team than the Bengals. The Bengals have a terrible defense.
Don't forget the nickname, Gus the Gummy Gator Edwards.
That's beautiful. The Gummy Gator?
Yeah.
Did you make that nickname up?
Your kids don't watch Ryan's Toy Review.
No.
Thank God. Like, congratulations. My kids do. And it's hell. Pure hell.
Okay.
Ryan's mom haunts my dreams with their loud, high-pitched scream. But, I mean, we could almost do a whole show about Ravens players that could possibly help you throughout the playoffs, because Lamar Jackson broke a record yesterday.
Really?
Broke a record.
You know, I benched Phillip Rivers for Lamar Jackson in the league.
How'd that go? I know they were probably close. Rivers had a pretty decent game, but
I'm in my team's bad. It was a takeover, and I had to trade away some draft picks. It was a 4-team keeper, and I had to trade away some fairly decent draft picks to get some pretty good keepers. Otherwise, literally, I didn't have on a 4-team keeper. I didn't have 3 players I wanted to keep, so I ended up trading away and. One of my top 3 picks, which, you know, like I said, is around 6 or 7 is the rounds I was out. So, I'm winning whenever I shouldn't be. Let's just put it that way.
Gotcha. But let's talk about Lamar Jackson.
Let's talk about
the record he broke. 27 carries. Did you know? No quarterback in the NFL has ever carried the ball 27 times.
That's unbelievable to me.
Unbelievable. Michael Vick's high, 15.
Wow.
Yeah. And Lamar Jackson comes in first game as a pro as far as starting and playing goes, because he's been mixed in a little bit like a Taysom Hill. But Lamar Jackson goes off, 27 carries, 117 yards. And contributed 13 to 19 in the air for 150. He did throw a pick, no touchdowns. But the upside is clearly massive. Massive.
Particularly, most leagues reward more for rushing yards than they do passing yards.
Yes.
Now, I mean...
And you get some passing yards, and this is probably going to be one of those lows as far as passing yards go. I
would assume
they had this game pretty well,
and he's
in the bag the whole way through. There wasn't any comeback mode. There wasn't a reason to throw the ball 30 plus times.
And he's a good thrower. That's the thing about Lamar Jackson. Lamar's actually
he is,
from what I saw in college, of course. He can actually throw the ball. It's not like he's a run first quarterback, which apparently he runs a lot. I would assume that some of these numbers, you know, maybe we take off 10 of his carries and added 10 throw attempts to it, but you know, obviously he's got the wheels. I mean, he's obviously a very effective runner. Over 100 yards on the ground. I don't expect 100 yards every week, but to add that 50 or 60 to go with, you know, 225, 230 passing yards, that's good. That is, you know, you're getting into that QB1 range, especially if you're getting in the end zone.
Yeah. So 200-yard rushers for the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards, 2 names that we've not seen at the top of fantasy scoreboards this season, and we get them in Week 11. I'm buying both of them. I know Flacco could only miss another game or 2, but that's this is prime time to either lock down your wild card or lock up your division. And I'll tell you, I have Lamar Jackson in my number 2 league. With Carson Wentz, and I'm regretting not playing Lamar Jackson because Carson Wentz is apparently having a a junior slump.
He'll come out of it. He'll be fine.
He will, but right
now
the
problem
that offense,
is it going to be this year?
It's not going to be this year.
That's the thing. Do you cat bait? My biggest thing about starting Jackson over Rivers was I had nothing to lose in that league. So it's like, you know what? I might as well put him on. I might see what he does. If he wins me a week, awesome. So,
yeah, I think I'm going to do it. Any games Lamar Jackson starts from here, I'm playing him over Wentz. in my leagues, any league that I can. Actually, I may pick him up. No, I got Cam Newton. It's almost like going back a little bit from Cam to Lamar. But I started to think about it. Like Cam scores. Cam throws touchdowns.
Yeah, you don't know what Lamar's going to do. Like, we're talking the most limited sample size. This is like signing Matt Flynn to a, 5-year, huge contract, and then kind of like the Seahawks did, with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, off of what, 1 game, 2 games?
Pretty much seven touchdown game. They're like, throw some money at him.
Absolutely.
Throw the cash.
Absolutely.
So Oakland, your team, as far as who's going to help you in the stretch run, nail down the wild card, sneak into the playoffs. Brandon LaFell apparently ruptured his Achilles last night. Yeah. The Raiders.
I just signed him.
The Raiders can't catch a break.
I just picked him. Signed him. Excuse me. I just picked him up in one of my leagues.
How'd that phone call go?
For like
you signed him?
$1. It was great. He was excited to be a Copperbeard.
Right.
Yeah, I just picked him up, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to play him this week. I'm actually oddly comfortable starting Golden Tate right now and Curtis Samuel.
Tate had a better game.
Yeah.
He's getting worked in.
He did. He's looking better. And then, of course, Curtis Samuel had a nice game. And
who?
Curtis Samuel.
Electric.
He gets in the end zone.
Man is electric.
I mean, all you can say is, he gets in the end zone. But anyway, I left LaFell on the bench, which it was the right decision, but, by the smallest of margins. And now I've got to just put him back on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
So who as a Raiders fan do you think's the beneficiary? I mean, we've got yet another receiver gone from Oakland. So your leaders for Oakland receiving wise yesterday were, I believe his name is Marcel Aitman, not Alt. Marcel Aitman. He was a 7th round rookie pick this season out of Oklahoma State. 6'4", 216, and has a wonderful smile from what I can tell by his bio. 4 catches, 50 yards. Seth Roberts 4 for 38, and Jalen Richard 3 for 32. It's getting super thin in Oakland. Can any of these guys help you in the playoff run?
Now, as a Raiders fan, I do like Seth Roberts, but no, none of them's going to be anything you're going to want to add.
You might take a flyer on Aitman if you really need. He's thrust into playing time. The ball has to go somewhere.
Does it?
I guess maybe it doesn't.
Have you sold the Raiders?
I guess it doesn't have to go somewhere. It can just go backwards.
I mean,
they won.
Yeah, which is
rah. Raiders, you won.
Okay. Woo.
Against a it's almost as if they're trying to get out of that number 1 overall pick.
I know you can't even tank right, Oakland.
It's them in Arizona now. Oakland won. Kind of. I believe that causes a tiebreaker situation if they finish with the same record, and Arizona would pick first overall. I don't know who they'd take, but
and there goes Nick Bosa.
Well, maybe that'd be a fantastic pick for him. But on that side, David Johnson. He's back, man. He didn't really get the receptions, but he had over 100 yards on the ground again. Looked really well doing it. I'm glad I picked him up for my stretch run. But let's look on to the next docket game. No big time surprises in the Denver Chargers game, but Cortland Sutton did have a 3 for 78 game, pacing them in yards. We've talked about him a little bit. I'm still of the belief that he can help you in the playoffs. Are you?
Absolutely. I think Cortland Sutton, the only thing he's going to end up doing is getting more and more targets as time goes on. I mean, he's coming down with large gains. He's getting better as far as a ball security standpoint. Like it's not like he's a fumble problem. I'm saying he's actually getting the catches on the targets. The more trust he builds up, the more targets he's going to get. And, this 74 yards could turn into 124 real quick, or, 150 and 2 touchdowns. That could happen real quick, especially when you get in a situation where you've got receivers that they're just not consistent like you need them to be. If you're playing Marquez Valdez-Scantling as your number 3, or Golden Tate even, as your number 2, just kind of the upside of Cortland Sutton is a lot higher right now. You know, and he's as you say, thrust into playing time. He's going to get the ball.
Thrust.
He's going to his upside's just at this point much higher than both those players.
I agree, and he can help you. I mean, rookies that get tossed in midway through the season, a lot of times they find their way into that number one role as the season winds down, and that's what's happening. The season is winding down. And it looks like we have a new number one team. Like we talked about them being possibly the number one team yet the last episode. But nobody has impressed me more. Now, I know we had the Chiefs with a just barrage of 6 games to start the season where it's like they are clearly the best team in the league. Now I think the Saints are clearly the best team in the league. Even the defense is starting to step up like we talked about. But, I mean, they shut the Eagles down.
I mean, you question, is this the product of a bad Eagles team or is this a product of a really good Saints team?
Really good Saints team, and I have no doubt about it.
I don't think their defense is this good, but I think their defense is very much improving.
If you have a middle of the league defense to combine with this offense, you're in fantastic shape. They've won 9 straight. 9 straight.
I mean, you have a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'll go ahead and say it. Drew Brees, definitely going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And you've got some players on that team that are just absolute studs. I mean, Alvin Kamara's a stud. Michael Thomas is a stud.
Mark
Ingram's back.
He's a stud.
Back to that's what I'm saying. His first game or two, he didn't look that great. Now, stud. I mean, Traquan Smith.
Big game.
Traquan Smith, 13 targets, 10 receptions, 157 yards and touchdown. Traquan Smith is a huge, huge add on all waiver wires if he's still available, and he's probably not. But in your little 10-teamer, whenever you're struggling for that number 3 receiver, Traquan Smith, absolutely the guy to go out and get.
Yeah, because that upside game per game of being able to do exactly what he did, I know that he has been inconsistent, but that upside he brings, like that, in our league format, that's over 20 points. I would have loved to have had that yesterday. Loved. Michael Thomas still did his thing, but that's another thing. New Orleans, wide receiver depleted. Traquan Smith is going to get targets the rest of the way.
Do you call Traquan Smith like depleted?
No.
Part of the depletion because
no, I'm just saying injury after injury. Ted Ginn, Cameron Meredith, Des Bryant. Now they signed Brandon Marshall. Like they have not had a number 2 receiver all year stay healthy, and finally maybe they're like, okay, let's suck it up. Traquan's our number 2. Let's play him as such and provide no competition. Like Brandon Marshall's not going to be competition for Traquan.
No,
that's a depth signing.
Gosh, no. And I mean, I liked in the preseason, I really liked Austin Carr's upside. Just to play that slot,
touchdown
that
yesterday,
slot role. Yeah, but one target or 2 targets, 1 catch for 3 yards and touchdown. That's not, great. You got in the end zone, but other than that, you did nothing.
Great, you got in the end zone.
But, I liked him for the upside, going into the season. But, man, it just nothing developed out of it. Same way, Cam Meredith, he's on IR now. Just it kind of is what it is. I like their top 2 receivers. And at this point, with as good as the running game is, and how effective Kamara is in the passing game, you just don't need that number 3 guy. You don't need they don't even need a solid tight end. As crazy as that is, they don't need a solid tight end to be an effective offense.
I agree. Let's talk about another game.
Can we also say they're great against the tight end?
Yeah.
They are great against tight end.
They shut Ertz down yesterday. Take your moment in the sun.
There we go.
Take your moment.
Hey, now it's primarily DFS play because you got to play him in your, Yeah,
you're going to.
All your other one. But he's, you had to shut him down.
Right.
Whenever it came to DFS. I mean, the stats don't lie. The Saints and the Titans, they're just 2 of the best in the league right now against tight ends. And the Titans still, even against the Colts, didn't allow a tight end in the end zone. And the Colts killed them. Anyhow.
I don't even want to talk about the Colts this morning. You'll know why if you follow us on the Twitter. why I'm very upset with Indianapolis.
Poor little guy. All right. What's
So Panthers, Lions, Kerryon Johnson, good game. My Matthew Stafford call didn't go as planned. He didn't have a bad game. In all regards, he had one of his best games of the season. It just happened to only result in 220 yards and a touchdown with no interceptions. But not the big game I was thinking was going to happen. He did keep them in it. They did win 20-19 on the back of Kenny the Snake Galladay. 8 receptions, 113 yards and a touchdown. Of course, he's somebody you should have grabbed in redraft if he was available, which he wasn't probably. But he is definitely – he's that guy you may not have been starting all season. Maybe you had somebody better. I was in that situation. Cooper Kupp, Kenny Galladay in one league is my wide receiver 3. Kupp goes down, gladly plug Galladay in the rest of the way. He's somebody I think is going to help you win a playoff game. Not just get there, but help you win a playoff game.
And you just, Galladay, he is a physical freak. He's a monster, and we know how much Matthew Stafford likes to throw the ball, how much the Lions as an organization like to throw the ball. Galladay's going to get a share. He's going to get his targets. It's going to be up to him what he comes down with, and more often than not, it's going to be the majority of them. And more often than not, he's going to be around that 100-yard mark, if not over. And he's the only real true red zone threat that they've got. Everyone else I think is like under 6 foot tall, and Galladay's like 6'2", 6'3". So,
flipping to the other side, which you'll love to talk about this, on that Panthers team that lost to the Lions, DJ Moore, 7 for 157 and a touchdown. Definitely a guy that can help you the rest of the way through, and I'm finally going to say it. But first, I'll say Devin Funchess, his time is over. He is no longer a fantasy relevant receiver to me. If you have Funchess in redraft leagues, time to cut bait. If you have Funchess in dynasty leagues, if your trades are still open, I would cut bait. Curtis Samuel is actually a better play. God, I can't believe I'm saying this.
It's because
I need a moment.
It's because it's true.
I need a moment. A moment like this. Curtis Samuel lasts a lifetime.
You have to say it because it's true. The only problem with Curtis Samuel,
he's electric.
He's good at getting in the end zone, so that's the best thing about him. But the problem is he's not getting 100% snap count like a DJ Moore. He's not on the field for every single situation. When he is, it's like they're targeting. They're finding Curtis Samuel in the offense, but he's not there every single play, and it's maddening. They're running out Jarius Wright or whoever.
Yeah.
And
maybe they're learning something. He still only has 17 receptions on 23 targets for the season.
Okay, I understand.
But that's the majority of those have been in the last 3 games.
Correct.
So maybe they're like, we are a much better offense with Curtis Samuel and DJ Moore as the beneficiaries of the passing game. No more slow Devin Funchess for 7-yard downfield high point throws. Now it's the Samuel and Moore show. 7 targets yesterday. It's nothing to F with.
5 touchdowns already on the season, and only started playing week 5.
Right.
I don't expect him to do what DJ Moore did yesterday with the ton of yards, but get the kid the targets, he's probably going to eventually find his way into the end zone, it seems like.
Well, he's finding his way to more targets week by week, so it may be prime time if all the other guys are gone. Maybe a waiver wire pickup.
Now, if you're running an IDP league, I know this is kind of just a itty bitty, like not icing on the cake, just like sprinkles on the cupcake.
Sprinkles on the cupcake.
But he does play special teams, so he usually gets you a tackle or two as well.
Ooh.
Hey, that was a decision maker.
Nothing like a tackle.
That was a decision maker for me versus putting him in versus Keelan Cole yesterday.
Oh, man, what happened to Keelan? Where did Keelan Cole go? Can we put out the search and rescue team?
Dude, he's got to have his picture on the side of a milk box somewhere.
Listen, from number 1 receiver for the Jags to, does he still play for him?
I'm telling you right now, I don't know if he's seen the field. Because it's goose egg. Put the kid on special teams or something. I mean, he's an effective guy with the ball in his hand. I don't know what he did. I mean, was he hooking up with the coach's daughter? What was going on, man?
Something bad happened.
Something bad has happened with Keelan Cole.
Keelan Cole is in the doghouse for something. Granted, the Jags only threw for 104 yards yesterday. No catches from Keelan Cole. No other wide receiver did anything either. Dante Moncrief 1 for 11. Great call, Nit. That call was just as good as my Michael Gallup 1 for 10. So, but yeah, he's gone. Keelan's gone. He's went the way of Devin Funchess.
Whenever I was listening back, I'd forgot that I actually said this. When Niddle was going deep, I'm like, you're not saying Michael Gallup. And then you said, I didn't realize that I had said that. And then you turned around and said, I'm like, oh, no, just don't do it, man. Just don't do it.
You got to take your dart throws.
Oh, yeah.
You got to take your shots.
Listen, if we said start Todd Gurley and Kareem Hunt every week and, sick Isaiah Crowell most weeks.
Boring show.
You got to be try to go against the grain every now and again.
Indeed. Good way to look at it. Cowboys, Falcons, Amari Cooper still not doing much, still being Amari Cooper. Ezekiel Elliott led the way.
I believe wasn't that
in receiving for
was
them.
That was you? You called Amari Cooper being down.
Well, yeah, but I at the expense of Michael Gallup.
Yeah,
that didn't happen.
Gotcha.
That didn't happen. Julio Jones scored again. Holy crap! Julio's a red zone target.
Is that 3 weeks in a row?
I believe so.
Oh my god,
he's a red zone target, man. He's like Curtis Samuel. Electric. He does nothing but get into the end zone.
As he freaking should be. He's a monster and can jump out of the stadium.
Right. Unfortunately, it didn't help him. Falcons are 4-6 after losing to the Cowboys. Cowboys probably running away with the NFC East. Alex Smith is now hurt. He is out for the season. Broke his leg. Colt McCoy time. Colt McCoy show is coming to town, which means more carries for Adrian Peterson. 30 carries a game probably for Adrian Peterson if you nabbed him at any time in the season. Now's your time to shine, even brighter than you were before.
I think I'm going to go pick me up some Colt McCoy. He's going to be a better option to start than Derek Carr the rest of the season.
Not a bad. You know what? Probably right. That's probably right. Colt McCoy, a lot of peppered 5-yard passes. Basically the Alex Smith of old there in Colt McCoy.
He's like a 2-inch shorter version of Alex Smith.
Basically.
Oh, God.
So Eric Ebron killed all owners yesterday. He had a pass attempt, but that was about it. Marlon Mack saved you with a touchdown, 16 for 61. We talked about selling high on Mack while you could. I think that has come to fruition. Marcus Mariota went out in this game as well. We had injured quarterbacks yesterday. Mariota, Alex Smith, and Blaine Gabbert came in and got it done for no one. For absolutely no one.
Poor Blaine Gabbert.
Poor Blaine Gabbert, indeed. It just brings Corey Davis back to irrelevancy. And if Marcus Mariota is going to miss some games, alert. Corey Davis is no longer a playoff asset for you.
See, look at Corey Davis's game log, and you'll see why I traded him. It's like 7 points.
Amari Cooper consistency.
6 points. 25 points. 5 points. 4 points. 14 points. I don't even want Corey Davis on my team. I think he's a tremendously talented wide receiver. I don't think he's the problem. I think that offense and just they're not targeting him. They don't target him enough for what he's able to do. I mean, it's as simple as that. Whenever you're throwing the ball to Anthony Ferkser, whoever the freak that is.
Well, he only got targeted 3 times, but Mr. Ferkser did pace him in receiving yards with
Corey Davis only got targeted 4 times.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
My point, though, I mean, whenever you're getting absolutely annihilated, how is your best receiver only getting targeted 4 times? You're getting crushed. You got lost the game by 28 points. And
Blaine Gabbert, man.
Your best receiver gets looked at 4 times.
Blaine Gabbert.
I don't want to give it away by throwing it to my first read. Well, if he's open, throw it to him.
Right. Titans were in playoff contention, and if Mariota's out, it's over. And this is the reason we've been Mariota haters for so long. Mariota will never stay healthy. You will never get 16 games out of Marcus Mariota. It's not going to happen.
Well, I'm sorry. Mine's not just that. I just don't think he's that good of a quarterback.
No, he's not that good. He's very slightly above average.
He offers a little bit on the ground. He's capable on the ground, but he's a very poor version of a Cam Newton. He wants to be mobile. Not going to give you, 100 yards on the ground typically, but he's going to get you, 20, 30, 40. But my God, Mark's it's such an inefficient offense all the way around. They don't have a running back that's effective. Their quarterback's ineffective, which makes their wide receivers ineffective. Simple as that. Man, I just don't like that whole offense.
I don't either. Stay away from everyone on that offense as of now. We pretty much were anyways, but now you definitely just need to stay away. But speaking of offenses that did give you some fantasy production yesterday, the Bucs and Giants. A surprisingly competitive game. Giants won 38-35. Who the fuck is that guy got replaced again? Fitzmagic is back to bench magic.
Oh, God.
Jameis Winston, once again the team leader, comes in and does what Fitzmagic does and rallies them back to almost a win.
Did you hear what I said on our press show?
I'm not sure.
I said something to the effect of someone, I don't even remember who it was. I was talking about somebody being effective. I'm like, it might all be after halftime.
Right.
Assuming that somebody was going to get benched. I'm like, but it's going to happen.
And that happened. That's exactly what happened. Jameis Winston comes in for a struggling Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like, this team.
Pick a freaking quarterback.
They won't. The next game, it could be Fitzmagic in the second half.
Well, here's what I don't get. It's like, all right, you gave Ryan Fitzpatrick, but by the way, he was a stud. There's no doubt about it. He was a stud first 3 or 4 games. And then, falls off the face of the earth. And then they give him an extra game or game and a half to struggle. Then they put in James. Your move's done. You can't go back.
They will.
I understand that, but you can't go back at that point.
Can't say can't, because they will.
And then you do. So what do? Now you've got – if you have a quarterback controversy, you just don't have a freaking quarterback. And that's what happened. They've created their own quarterback controversy when there shouldn't have been one in the first place.
They should just accept it and go to a 2 QB system. What else can they do? They're going to do it anyways. It's just going to be half to half.
I'm just saying, Jameis Winston, you've got to see if he is worth paying. I tend to agree, but you've got to see if he is a franchise-level quarterback.
He's not.
You're right. But now you're just like, well, we're going to put him in for half. Oh, yeah, nice job getting us almost all the way back to win. And, all right, we're going to play you next week. Oh, what's that? You threw 2 interceptions? Bench. Get to the bench. Get that right. How do you feel if you're Jameis Winston with your confidence?
He doesn't seem to mind. Like, usually he's on the bench just talking to Fitzmagic, which I understand. Fitzmagic is such a likable guy. You can't be mad at him for coming in.
Yeah, but
they sit there all chummy. I don't think either one of them really give 2 craps. I think they're both crappy season. Fitz is like, I'm probably going to hang it up here maybe in another year or 17. He'll probably play forever, but technically he should go ahead and retire. Jameis Winston, probably like, this isn't the team I'm going to be with for the rest of my career anyways, not really giving a crap.
But Bucks. You just become someone who you can't trust your own arm whenever you're terrified of being benched. You know what I mean? Like, on the field, you're like, you can't be worried about making mistakes on the field. Players that are worried about making mistakes are hesitant. And players that are hesitant are indecisive.
Right.
And whenever you're indecisive, you're ineffective. I mean, it's simple as that. Whenever they bench Ryan Fitzpatrick for Jameis Winston, Winston comes in, throws 2 touchdowns, has 129.9 passer rating. That's great. That's very solid. But at the end of the day, if he does the same thing at the next game, throws an interception right out the rip, what happens? What happens? Are they going to bench him for Ryan Fitzpatrick? He's at least going to be worried about it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the plan for the Buccaneers. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their best option for every single game, which I don't even know if they have a third quarterback. Do you know? I'm looking it up right now. Ryan Griffin. Every single game for the rest of the season, you start Ryan Griffin. You play him for half a quarter, and you bring one of the other two guys in for relief. They're both obviously better in relief than they are starting.
So what you're saying is they need to have like a starter,
a buffer,
a middle relief pitcher, and a closer?
You got it. Got it.
That could be a game changer.
They could finish the season out with nothing but wins.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet that happens.
I'm not being serious. But anyways, in that game, your boy, Eli Manning, only missed one pass. 17 for 18, 231 and 2, no interceptions.
Well,
a good Eli game.
That's a good Eli game.
That's a good Eli game.
I mean, whenever you're terrified of one of the best running backs in the league, it keeps the pocket a little bit cleaner. Makes you have a little bit of time.
Saquon killed it yesterday.
Saquon is you got to
3 touchdowns. He 27 for 142. Didn't do a lot through the air, but he did score.
Is Saquon worth as much as Todd Gurley right now?
Oh man.
It's got to be close.
Not yet. I mean, Todd Gurley plays on such a good offense. Not yet.
Saquon in a late first.
Not yet. I still think it's very debatable, which I take the Saquon side. I haven't made any secret about it all season, but it's barely. But it is. Gurley still won, and I think it's clear. But you can't be faulted if you were to choose Barkley or Kamara. There's 3 guys that could go 1 overall. Gurley's the right choice in my opinion, and Barkley and Kamara are not the wrong choice. If that makes any sense.
No, I tend to agree with you. The only argument for me, if you wanted to go Kamara, is look what he's done with a limited workload, and most likely it's his backfield next year.
We
likely.
always say that, but watch him sign Lev Bell.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Watch him sign Lev Bell. Give Lev Bell 20 carries and Kamara 15. Like, you just don't know about the Saints. Like, the Saints have found this formula that just works. Why mess with it?
Yeah.
I mean, why mess with it? Why risk injury? It's the NFL's been long running as a multiple running back league, not really a bell cow kind of system. And the Saints have bought into spreading the wealth, and they do it well.
Yeah, but look,
all they do is win,
but
no
look
matter what.
Look at the top teams right now. I mean, the top teams, the teams that you're really concerned about, making a run in the playoffs.
They have bell cows.
They've all got bell cows.
Yeah, except for the Saints.
Either one of them can be a bell cow, though. That's the biggest thing about the Saints. Both of those guys have the ability to be a bell cow.
I kind of like keeping Kamara fresher.
I understand.
He's so good. And like you've said before, like, he doesn't need 20. He doesn't need 20 plus. I'm perfectly happy with 15 and whatever he gets through the air, because it's going to equate to top 3 to 5 running backs
so much like
every single week.
Jamal Charles of old.
Yeah.
The first couple years in the league. It's like he doesn't need the 25 carries a game to be one of the best running backs out there. Man, but
indeed,
Saquon is getting onto that level to where it's going to be really, really, really hard to trade for Saquon. Probably impossible, honestly.
Already is.
I'm not sure that the Saquon owner's willing to give him up for Todd Gurley in most leagues.
Tell you someone you can trade for. Peyton Barber had a 100-yard game and a touchdown, 106 and a touch. I have him in the Sleeper Wire Pro-Am League as my second back behind Gurley, because I traded for Lev Bell.
What a brilliant move.
Mid-season, not even mid-season, like 4 weeks ago I traded for Lev Bell because, I traded Cooper Kupp for him, and now Kupp's out. So it worked out either way, but, well, if you want to call it worked out. But I had to take that chance of having 2 super stud running backs to go with the rest of my Studley team. And it didn't pan out. Looks like Peyton Barber is going to be starting for the Back Row Fantasy Show in a Pro-Am the rest of the season. But Mike Evans got it done for you. O.J. Howard, I should have started over Ebron. If you saw the Twitter, I'm very upset. I hope O.J. Howard doesn't miss any games. He also went down towards the end of the game. with a leg injury. God, I hope to God he comes back, because now I'm scared to death of Ebron, which is ridiculous. He's been money. Everybody has a Hunter Henry game now and then, lays an egg.
Yeah, true.
Odell Beckham in that same game, 4 for 74 and a touch. I'm still not that impressed with what Odell's on pace for, just as good a season as normal, but he has not been
he's not
super
delivering
elite.
he's not delivering those monstrous weeks like you're always expect out of Odell Beckham Jr.
It's just strange. I mean, like I said, he's having a fine season. There's just something that is pedestrian for Odell Beckham about it. And to me, it taints his draft position next season. But moving on to other games, we got a few to wrap up before we move on and try to discover who you can get
back
help
to where
for.
you were saying, like his average of his career is like 1,350 yards. He's literally right on pace for that. I mean, there's 5 games left. 5 games left, and he has 932 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like, I'm with you 100% that he's not looking like he has been, but at the end of the season, he's going to do it. He's doing it over a solid consistency, more or less, of a season. You're like, this isn't why I got you, Odell.
I don't want consistency. I want big games.
I want, that's insane to even think that. But it's like, I got you for the 3 touchdown games to where you get me 40 points, man. You only got me 1 2-touchdown game this year. Come on, Odell. But, I mean, if you look at his stat line, though, the problem is whenever he gets over 100 yards, he just doesn't get in the end zone. I mean, just the one game, I guess 2 of them he did. But he's got 5 or 6 100-yard games already this season. He's just, not getting in the end zone all of them like he used to.
Yeah, just the way it's going. Texans won a squeaker over the Redskins. They're all of a sudden 7-3. Fantasy-wise, nobody really tore it up yesterday. DeAndre Hopkins gave you a Beckham-like game, 556 and a touch. But on the other side, Jordan Reed had a great game. Jordan Reed, do you think he's someone that can help you stretch run for the playoffs?
You've already got Jordan Reed, though. I mean, somebody's got him.
Well, yeah, but they're probably not starting him. He's probably the backup tight end. He hasn't been that great this season.
Like, if you've got an O.J. Howard that's went down, if you got Rob Gronkowski and you're concerned, I mean, maybe Reed's the answer for a couple weeks till we see what Gronk is coming back off injury.
I think with Colt McCoy, I think that Jordan Reed's an upgrade. I think Jordan Reed just got an upgrade, not in talent, because Alex Smith is a better quarterback. But Jordan Reed is probably going to get peppered with targets with Colt McCoy in the game.
Man, I mean, Alex Smith liked to throw to the tight end, though.
He did, but that was with Kelsey. And then when he comes to Washington, it's like mixes it up between Jordan Reed and Vernon Davis. Colt McCoy's been playing with Jordan Reed for a while. I think that rapport of multiple seasons together could mean that Jordan Reed breaks out kind of as their go-to target every single game. It's just a name to look out for, in my opinion. He had 11 targets yesterday, most of those coming after the Alex Smith injury. So Jordan Reed's just somebody I like rest of season if you're struggling at tight end, if you're rolling out, if you're streaming them. And if he's been part of your stream, maybe you're streaming Jordan Reed and Chris Herndon or something. I think you can roll with Reed the rest of the season and be happy. I would, with Colt McCoy in at quarterback especially.
I mean, he's going to be near the top 10.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's good enough. You know what I mean? Because odds are you've got somebody who's got a top 10 tight end, and they took the flyer on Kittle and got Kittle.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I'll buy that. Flip over to the other side. Where's Demaryius Thomas?
Kiki Coutie's back.
He's
a better receiver at this point in their careers.
He catches, I mean, he ends up with 0 statistics yesterday. I don't even think he was targeted. He did play, but I don't even think he was targeted yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the writing's on the wall. Nit and others have said Demaryius Thomas has 2, 3, 4 season of top production. I don't buy it. I think this is it. I think this is the end of Demaryius Thomas being a fantasy relevant wide receiver. It's going to be name value from here on out, and I just don't like it. I like the young guys in Houston better. I like Kiki Coutie. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be the number one all the time. It just makes Demaryius Thomas not trustable. I'm not rolling him out. He's probably on waivers if it was up to me in redraft leagues.
Man, see, I don't know if I'm ready to release him to the waiver wire because I feel like
I'm releasing him.
If you put him on the waiver wire, what's going to happen is you're going to be in a game that you need. Someone else has an injury, and you're going to end up getting beat because of Demaryius Thomas in like week 14.
Give me some Marcel Aitman the rest of the way.
Okay. I'll take DT.
Over DT.
I'll take DT all day over that.
Steelers beat the Jags. Nothing to write home about as far as fantasy land goes, except James Conner just didn't get it done for once. Sad. Sorry, James Conner. Back to that Ravens-Bengals game. John Ross got in the end zone again. I don't suggest him as the rest of the year play. I would leave him to the waiver wires. It's just hit or miss. I'm not going to rely on a freaking touchdown.
Yeah.
It's not like everyone's starting Alex Collins with confidence, even though a touchdown has saved him in 90% of the games.
Remember, Austin Carr got in the end zone this week.
Yes.
Let's just realize that.
Yeah.
I mean,
but John Ross has gotten the end zone a couple weeks in a row. That's why I'm calling him out as a don't get excited kind of pick.
I just can't get excited about a guy who just gets a few targets a game.
No.
You know what I mean? Like
No.
that's the biggest concern more than anything. I mean, he has I guess he had 7 targets, but he only comes down with 2.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
the kind of game that John Ross plays. That's just how it goes. I threw a poll out yesterday. Not really a poll, but a little picture. I'd like your opinion on it, Arms. Vikings and Bears last night. The Bears, again, the Bears are going to be scary, man. The Bears, I do not want to face them in the playoffs if I'm any team. Even the Saints, I don't want to face the Saints and Bears would be. I know the Saints and Rams is like the high-powered NFC Championship game. I want to see the Saints and Bears.
That would be
in
that'd be
NFC
incredible.
Championship game,
Or at least at some point in the playoffs. I mean,
yeah, I want to see that game. Like
wow.
I really want to see that game because the Bears.
They absolutely shut down running backs.
The Bears just shut down everyone. I mean, the Vikings, the only reason Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, the only reason those guys saved you is because they were in garbage time comeback mode. They were never close to winning this game.
The Vikings had a combined 22 yards on the ground.
Pitiful. And it's the Bears.
Which, by the way, I did call that sit. Which you got to. I mean, this is how good the Bears are. People need to start realizing it's getting to be a historically great run defense. I mean, they're one of the best run defenses at this point, at least in the past 10 years. They're probably the best run defense in the past 10 years. They're annihilating people. I mean, is it a close game? Yeah, but it's only close in the air.
Score. Only in score. Wasn't that close as far as like watching the game. You could tell the Bears are the better team. And I did warn everybody, don't go chasing Allen Robinson.
That was a nice call.
Good Lord, man. He's 2-touchdown game. Nothing to get excited about. It's Allen Robinson. Taylor Gabriel paced him in receiving this week. It's week to week whoever's going to pace him. Luckily, Anthony Miller caught a touchdown and saved you there.
You literally nailed the call, though, on that. It's like, don't go chasing Robinsons. I do think they're going to have a productive receiver, but I'll play Anthony Miller this week. Okay.
Yeah, Barker. I mean, he's to me, Anthony Miller is becoming the safest play. Doesn't mean you should be starting him. I'm not comfortable starting any Bears receiver, to be honest with you, but Allen Robinson is one of the biggest names that I'm least comfortable with starting. To me, he's kind of in the Demaryius Thomas mold. Just not comfortable. That name recognition, sure, it's big name, but I don't want him in my lineup.
Do you feel bad for the people who spent that first rounder to get him this year? Because people were trading away firsts to get Allen Robinson? Like that was there were questions about multiple first rounders for Allen Robinson's value this offseason.
Yeah.
That's insane. Now,
ludicrous.
Now, Trubisky had a down game. I'm not concerned about that. I think this is a solid Vikings defense as well.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about that. I think Trubisky definitely has a bounce back game next week and pretty much good, I think, the rest of the season.
Yeah,
especially fantasy season.
That's what I threw up to. Like, who's had the better season? Cousins or Trubisky, and I'm not talking fantasy season because obviously Cousins edges him out there, but as far as just better seasons for their team, very debatable. The Bears are rolling to a 7-3 record behind Trubisky. Vikings are 5-4-1, which is fine. You know, they've got a shot at the playoffs, and Kirk's been pretty good, but not dominant like we thought they'd be. And that if I'm an NFL team drafting today, if the whole league's an expansion, kind of like Trubisky.
Okay. Now, I do want to point out one thing. How freaking good is Eddie Jackson?
Eddie Jackson's real good. And
Eddie Jackson, I think, has as many touchdowns this year as Julio Jones.
You're probably right.
If not, it's within one.
Yeah.
That is insane. Eddie Jackson, I mean, is he a stat sheet stuffer? Some weeks he does all right, but a little bit of inconsistency
He was coming
there.
on as the season went on.
But, my gosh, I mean, another pick six. Eddie Jackson is pretty darn good at getting back in the end zone from not having the ball to begin with. You know.
Yeah, he's good though. But hopefully we helped you out a little bit with some guys to maybe think about picking up rest of season. It was actually a short week in the NFL. A lot of teams on bye, not a whole lot of games. Tonight we've got the Chiefs-Rams. Probably one of the better Monday night games in a while.
That's going to be one to stay up for. I don't think anybody's falling asleep at halftime on that one.
No. And if you do, you're crazy. Don't go to sleep. Watch Patty Mahomes put some ketchup on some receivers this week.
And listen, Heinz, stop encouraging this. Like don't ketchup steak. If you're ordering steak, you're mispronouncing hamburger if you want to put ketchup on it.
I'll eat some ketchup on some steak. We had the conversation pre-recording, or maybe it was while we were recording. I don't know, but I'll put some ketchup on my steak.
No,
Patty Ice is my hero.
I want to be his Mahomie.
Mahomie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what they should name it, if they haven't already. That should be what his fan club is. The Pat Mahomies.
All right. That's a fine note to end it on. Thanks for
ruining it, Arms. Yep.
Mahomies. Thanks for joining us. Little Monday morning recap. Just working our way through the season.
And I kept spilling coffee all over my shirt. I couldn't figure it out. The lid wasn't twisted on tightly. I was so upset. I kept...
It's like grade school. It's like
look like an idiot over here. I'm like, yeah, the first time the camera's pointed basically directly at me, it's like drip.
You like
drip.
that?
Nah, nobody wants to see this.
You like that?
I should have done the whole show like
that?
this. Just over here. Hidden behind my mic.
Right.
I think our listeners would have appreciated that. Or viewers would have appreciated that.
Very possibly.
Sorry, I'm ugly. It's cool, though.
You've got a head-on direction to tell them bye. Go ahead, Arms.
Good night.
Peace.